originally published by Afterhours Archive 613. This audio edition is adapted from the original written article. Saturday Spotlight 613 edition. Hypno Chrome. A sold-out evening built on movement, expression, and community. On June 13, 2026, Pole Fitness Academy, Ottawa hosted the inaugural edition of Hypno Chrome, a sold-out evening that brought together performers, musicians, instructors, students, and supporters for a showcase built around movement, expression, and community. As doors opened at 7 p.m., attendees filtered into an intimate studio transformed for the occasion. An upstairs studio had been converted into a lounge area offering drinks, snacks, and space to gather between performances, adding another layer to an event that felt as much about community as it did performance. The downstairs studio had two circular rows of seating surrounding the performance space, creating an environment where audience members remained close to every movement, transition, and moment of connection throughout the night. Presented as the first edition of Hypno Chrome and curated by Vampira, the evening blended athleticism, artistry, music, and personal expression in a way that felt both accessible and welcoming. Rather than separating performers from the audience through distance or formality, the event invited attendees directly into the experience. That invitation began immediately. The evening opened with a warm welcome for both returning community members and first-time attendees. Audience participation was encouraged from the start. Guests were invited to cheer, applaud, react, and engage with the performances. For those unfamiliar with pole performance, explanations were offered throughout the evening, including discussions about the differences between static and spinning poles. Rather than assuming prior knowledge, the event actively created opportunities for newcomers to understand and appreciate what they were seeing. The atmosphere throughout the evening was notably supportive. Performers were introduced not simply as acts, but as people. Their backgrounds, influences, experiences, and artistic approaches were acknowledged with enthusiasm and respect. Volunteers helping maintain the space were recognized. Staff members were thanked. Audience members were welcomed. Even the event's tipping structure reflected a collective philosophy, with contributions shared among performers rather than directed exclusively toward individuals. That spirit extended beyond the performance area itself. The upstairs lounge became a social gathering space where attendees could purchase drinks and snacks, meet new people, reconnect with friends, and discuss the performances during intermission. Staff and volunteers contributed to an environment that felt relaxed and approachable, while the sold-out crowd maintained an energy that remained enthusiastic throughout the evening. One of the strongest impressions of the night was the genuine support performers received from the audience. Applause followed routines. Cheers erupted throughout the room. Audience members celebrated impressive moments, encouraged performers, and appeared invested in one another's success. Rather than a competitive atmosphere, the evening felt rooted in shared appreciation and mutual encouragement. That sense of community was reinforced repeatedly. When a handful of front row seats became available, the moment was transformed into a playful audience interaction rather than a logistical announcement. Trivia questions and jokes kept the crowd engaged between performances. Throughout the evening, transitions were filled with humor, conversation, and opportunities for participation, helping create a sense of connection that extended beyond the performances themselves. The event also highlighted the interconnected nature of Ottawa's independent creative communities. Local artist postnoBILLZ contributed both technical support and a live musical performance before intermission, demonstrating the overlap that often exists between different creative disciplines. Music, movement, performance, instruction, and community building all shared the same space throughout the evening, reflecting a broader creative ecosystem rather than a single artistic niche. Attendees were also treated to a live performance of a newly released single, adding another memorable moment to an already dynamic evening. Educational elements were woven naturally into the program as well. Attendees were encouraged to explore workshops and classes offered through Pole Fitness Academy, creating a pathway for those interested in learning more about the art form. The evening functioned not only as a showcase, but also as an introduction to a community, lowering barriers for newcomers and inviting curiosity rather than exclusivity. For many attendees, the performances themselves were undoubtedly the highlight of the evening. Yet some of the most memorable moments happened between routines. A host joking with audience members while filling seats. Volunteers preparing the space for the next performer. Conversations continuing upstairs during intermission. Audience members cheering for people they may have never met before. Together, these moments revealed something larger than any individual performance. Hypno Chrome was not simply showcasing pole performance. It was showcasing a community. By the end of the evening, enthusiasm for future editions was already evident. References to a possible fall return were met with excitement from the audience, suggesting that the inaugural event had accomplished something every new cultural event hopes to achieve, creating an experience people genuinely want to revisit. The performances provided the movement. The music provided the atmosphere. But the strongest impression left by Hypno Chrome was the sense of belonging that surrounded them both. In a city often defined by its larger institutions and major events, evenings like Hypno Chrome serve as a reminder that culture is also built in independent studios, community spaces, and grassroots gatherings. It is built by organizers willing to create opportunities, performers willing to share their work, volunteers willing to contribute their time, and audiences willing to show up and support one another. On June 13, 2026, the first edition of Hypno Chrome demonstrated all of those things. And if the response inside the room was any indication, it will not be the last. This audio edition was adapted from the original written article published by Afterhours Archive 613. Additional event information and social media details are available in the original written article published by Afterhours Archive 613.